Welcome to the Take Your Shot podcast, episode 27. Of course, as always, I'm your wonderful host, Joshua Gitman. And today we have a very special guest, former starting point guard for the Heat. He averaged 9 points per game, 4 assists, and 1.5 steals per game in his career. He's a two-time NBA champion and a national champion with the University of Kansas. Mario Chalmers, welcome to the show.
Hey man, how you doing? Appreciate it.
Thank you for taking your time to come on the show. For you, I'm just a huge fan of you. And ever since I got into basketball, the first time I got into basketball was the 2013 Heat team, and seeing you, LeBron, D Wade, and Chris Bosh doing your thing, it was just absolutely incredible. And I'm a huge fan.
I appreciate it.
So let's get started. First, we'll talk about your Kansas days, your time in Kansas. You were born in raised in Alaska, went to high school in Alaska. You were a McDonald's All-American, #1 point guard in your class. And the question is, why would you choose Bill Self? Why would you choose Kansas over other schools that were trying to recruit you, like Arizona, North Carolina, Wake Forest, other schools that were interested in you? Why Kansas?
I just like the way Coach Self ran his program, his style. He was a guard coach. He had great guards before that, Illinois, and D Brown, Darren Williams, Luther Head, and guys like that. So, um, just seeing a guy like that and how he ran the system made me want to go play for him. And Kansas seemed like the perfect fit.
That's awesome. And speaking of Bill Self, how did you feel that Bill Self prepared you to be who you are in the NBA? How did he help you transition from college to the NBA?
Just the freedom that he gave me in the game of basketball. He let me perfect what I was good at, and that was my instincts and my shooting. And just those two things helped me prevail to the next level.
And obviously, you won the national title in 2008, but you hit the game tying shot to force it to overtime, which would eventually lead you guys to win the title. But what was that tying shot the moment you knew I was going to be great? I was going to be an NBA player. I was going to be in the NBA for a long time.
Um, that added to it. I think just coming up through my high school days and going to different camps and seeing the level that was going to enter the NBA at the same time as me. I felt like I could make it, and my peers helped me stay focused and just be able to keep going to that next level where I really wanted to go.
And just like a quick little scenario question, let's say you guys would have lost the national championship, didn't win the national championship, and you guys, your freshman year, you lost in the round of 32. Sophomore year, you lost in the Elite Eight. Would you, let's say you, Daryl Arthur, and Brett B. Rush stayed at Kansas? Would you have stayed with them if you guys didn't win, and would you have ran it back another year, especially since back then most players would stay in college for 4 years?
Definitely would have thought about it. Especially being that close and with the team that we had, it would have been a thought process.
Okay, and then question about the current aspect of college basketball. How do you feel about this new college basketball with NIL, the transfer portal all the time, one and dones? How do you feel about the new era of college basketball?
I like it. I think NIL is good for the players. Keeps everybody, interested and keeps them going. The one thing I don't like is the transfer portals, but that's just because I feel like it's an easy way out. It
Yeah.
doesn't make you really want to work to, get better and outplay the man in front of you, or just learn from the player in front of you and be ready to take over when he graduates. So that's the only thing I don't like.
Do you think that transfer portal, especially since we're seeing a lot of guys who go into the NBA play with multiple universities, do you think that's part of the reason why the NBA is soft these days compared to the old days?
Um, it could be, but I just think that the NBA is just less physical than it used to be. I think players are better, players are more skilled nowadays, and players are able to do more. So the game is changing, the game's involved.
Okay, let's move on to the early stages of your NBA career. Obviously, you were drafted 2008. You were the 34th pick with the Timberwolves, traded to the Heat. You were drafted with two other Kansas players, if I'm not mistaken, in that draft class, and you had 8 guys play on that Kansas team with at some point in the NBA, which is absolutely incredible. But for you being the 34th pick, I thought that was a little bit of an undervalued, especially since how you played in college. And I feel like you had that chip on your shoulder. undervalued. That's sort of the qualities that that are Heat culture. And did you think going to the Miami Heat when you got drafted was a perfect fit for you, or did it not really matter? Because I thought it did.
To me, it didn't really matter. I mean, I was happy to finally make it to the NBA, make it to that stage, and have my name called. But I never worked out for Miami, so it was kind of different.
Mm,
Never really looked at them just because the season before they had the 15 and 67 season and 57, I should say.
yeah.
Uh, and then they had the number 2 pick, so I didn't think I would be a second round pick. So I didn't have any thoughts about going to Miami. I didn't even think about it until it happened. So once it happened and I got there, and I was a big D Wade fan growing up. I kind of try to model my game a little bit after him and get into the basket and splitting the defense. So just be able to learn from him and be beside a guy that I looked up to. It turned out to be a perfect fit.
Yeah, like Dwayne Wade, as we know, as you just mentioned, he's an absolutely incredible player. Probably, in my opinion, the best Heat player of all time. He's a Hall of Famer. But you've come out saying he's one of your biggest mentors in your career. How did he do that to you? How did he help you adjust to the NBA early in your career?
It was just more about learning how to play the NBA game, the NBA style of play. More about where to get him the ball, stuff like that. So, just teaching me how to play the point guard. Showing me how to carry myself, be a professional. Show me how to, ask the questions that need to be asked and listen to the things I need to be listened to. And don't worry about the things that don't need to be worried about. So it was just different things coming in that, as a rookie, you've never been in that position before. So it's good to learn from somebody like that has that spotlight, that ability.
And then we know the Miami Heat, their training camp. We've heard the stories of the conditioning test, like how it's absolutely brutal for NBA players. Like Jermaine O'Neal said he couldn't play with Miami because he ate all those Oreos. Can you explain like what the conditioning test was and how hard is it to deal with the Miami Heat on it, like Miami Heat's work on a consistent basis?
It's just work. It's just constant work. That's the thing about it. They don't take no days off, and that's the biggest thing about being in Miami. It's hardcore work. You enjoy lifestyle outside of basketball. So inside, you're gonna put the work in, run through the wall, run through each other, and just play basketball. That's the thing about it. It's just hardcore basketball. No excuses.
Yeah, yeah, that has pretty much lived up since Pat Riley has been with Miami from since he's joined, even now. So I've heard people be intimidated of Pat Riley at first. A lot of people are. What was your experience first initially meeting Pat Riley, the godfather of basketball?
Um, My experience was a little different just because of the rookie transition thing. So I think I kind of started off on Pat's bad side. So
Uh,
I just had to figure it out. I had to grow up in front of his eyes and just show him that he drafted me there for a reason. He traded for me for a reason, and I wasn't gonna let him down. So once he figured that out, and we got back on one accord, me and Pat was real cool.
and going back to training camp a little bit, speak to the adjustment you had to make because you were a shooting guard in college at Kansas, but obviously in Miami we know who the starting shooting guard was. How how hard was that adjustment from going to shooting guard to point guard? And were you surprised that you got the starting point guard job, or did you know if you put in the work you would have that opportunity to start all 82 games in your rookie season?
Actually, it was kind of easy just to go back to the point guard because that was my natural position. So it was just like in the
Okay.
Kansas system, I played the two, but when it came to like the end of the game and stuff like that, I always had the ball in my hand. So my decision making was good. I got a little taste of handling the ball and being the true point guard in summer league, so that made me very comfortable coming into the process. And I knew the point guard spot was up for grabs, and I knew, like you said, if I just go in there, work, keep my head down, and stay focused, that I can get that spot. And I was able to do that and hold it for 82 games.
And also just a question about Eric Spoelstra. I think your rookie year was his first year, right, as the coach.
Uh huh.
So how do you feel like throughout the years from the start to the finish? How do you feel like has have you noticed like a difference in his coaching throughout like the years like in the back years? Did you think he got better at coaching? Was he better help? Was like how did you see his involvement? Because his involvement from just being the video coordinator to now being probably, in a lot of people's opinion, the best coach in the NBA was absolutely incredible. How did you see that involvement in Spo?
Like you said, he just evolved. He learned the game. He figured out a way to put a system in the game that could work no matter who's in that position. And he knows how to get the best of his players. And that's the one thing that Spo has got really better at, and that's what helps him be the coach that he is and connects with the players like he does.
Okay, let's move on to the Big Three era. Obviously, you were teammates with LeBron James. What is something that stood out to you the most about being teammates with LeBron, arguably one of the best to ever do it?
Um, how much fun he likes to have. That's one thing about Brian. He loves to have fun. He loves to come in, play the game, but he's still gonna have fun and he's still gonna take it seriously at the same time. So that was one thing that that stood out to me.
And like with that team, did you think that you had to sacrifice a little bit to ultimately get the prize because you were playing probably a little bit more minutes in your early stage, but now that you got the big three coming in, did you know you had to sacrifice in order to receive success?
Definitely. I mean, that's what being a team player is. I know when you have three of the greatest players that ever played this game on one team, you got to figure out how to keep up and stay with them. And I was able to do that just by being a defender, being a guy that can knock down shots, and being someone they can rely on.
And then in the 2011 finals, obviously that was a very disappointing loss. High expectations for the first year of the new era for the Miami Heat. But how do you feel like two parts? How do you feel like you personally adjusted after that finals loss, and how do you feel the team adjusted and changed after that finals loss to Dallas in six?
We figured out how to play with each other. We figured out how to become a real team. I think that first year we were scared to step. Well, they were scared to step on each other's toes and figure out, who's going to be the dominant guy, who's going to be, the go-to guy and the leader. And coming into that next year after we lost to Dallas, I think it was all established that, who was going to be the main guy, and then who was everybody else was just going to fall in, and that's how it went.
And then speak to me about the how many games was the winning streak? 28, 20, 26,
I think it was 27.
27, 27.
I think it was
Eight
27.
eight like winning 27 games in a row in the NBA, no matter who you're playing, winning at that consistent basis is very hard. Did you feel like at that moment of that moment in time in 2013, did you feel like that it you guys were going to form a dynasty at that point?
I thought we had already low key formed it at that point, but going through that, it was a lot of fun just being in that moment, and every team is trying to beat you at that moment, no matter who it is, and it's just fun to compete.
And then speak to me on guarding some of the best guards in the NBA in the finals because in both the championships 2012, 2013, whether that was guarding Westbrook, Ginobili, Parker, speak to me on the challenge of guarding three Hall of Famers like those guys.
Just being the biggest challenge, they got the ball in their hands a lot, and they get to dominate the court and dominate what goes on. So you just got to be ready for any moment, and anytime they try to attack, you just got to be ready and be able to compete with them. And that's all I tried to do.
And what was the moment like for you when you did win that first championship in 2012? It must have, even though you did win a national championship, I feel like it's a little bit harder to win that NBA championship because NCAA, it's one game single elimination, but the NBA championship, you got to fight through hard 7-game series, especially that Boston one. That series in the conference finals was absolutely crazy where LeBron popped up in game 6. And then at the end of it, it's all over. You won. What were your emotions winning that first title?
Just happy. As a kid, you always dream about that moment winning the NBA championship, and for me to do that and be able to say I won on every level, it multiplied my dreams
Yeah.
even bigger.
One of the 20 to do it, right? High school, college, NBA. That's
Right.
special. That's special. And then something that I think a lot of people noticed on the famous play where Bosch gets the rebound, he kicks it to Allen. You're standing at the corner on the other side with your hands up, ready to get the ball, ready to shoot. What was going through your mind when Allen shot the ball? Because it's like hard to see that, even though you know Allen, such a great 3-point shooter, it's hard to see him take the shot when it's like you control your own destiny. So what was going through your mind when he shot that shot instead of you?
Nothing. It was cash.
Nothing.
It was just
Cash.
it was like one of the moments. It was just like CB got the rebound, and if he turned my way, I'm open. If he turned Ray Allen way, he's open. If he turned straight D Wade or Bron, one of them was open. Like everybody was open at that moment. So I can't just say like,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? I was
Yeah.
asked the question, and they was like, "Would you make that shot in the moment?" I was like, "Yeah, I make that shot." Like, come on, it's me. It's not saying that I should have got the shot over Ray Allen. I don't think that. It's a good basketball play. Whoever's open, you got it to the right person. So Ray Allen's Ray Allen. As Jesus Shuttlesworth. That's of course his money.
And how was that LeBron departure? I know it was a little bit. Were you surprised at LeBron leaving in 2014? Did you know, like, ultimately that he was going to go back to Cleveland, or were you a little bit surprised about that?
You kind of heard the rumblings. I wasn't really in that process, with kind of the upper echelon that makes
Yeah,
us
yeah,
just talk
yeah.
about it.
Makes
So,
sense.
um, I mean, I wasn't shocked. Um, I mean, it makes
Yeah,
sense. You know what I'm
it
saying? It's
is what
just
it is.
one of those things that makes sense.
And then I want to know something that happened during the victory era. How about that Harlem Shake video? I want to know how that formed. What was it like? LeBron being like king with the crown, you literally being Mario. What was it? Chris Anderson, Birdman flapping his wings. Like, how did that come to fruition? Because that was one of the most funny. That was so funny. Like, that
Uh,
was hilarious.
we was on the bus coming back from a game, and I had seen the video, and I always sat back there with D Wade and Bron and all them. So we started talking about it. And then, Bron set it up and, D Wade helped everybody get costumes and everybody figure out what they wanted to be. And, the Heat helped us put it together, made sure that we had time and everything in the locker room set up perfectly. And, it was just a fun thing to do. And I think that was one time where you could see, like, not only the players having fun, but like the organization really behind the scenes that helped us put it together. It was kind of like a kumbaya, like everybody just having fun. Like, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
we're doing something legendary. Let's have legendary moments.
and that will forever be iconic in my books.
I think so too.
Let's get to some fan questions. I asked some fans on Instagram to give me some questions to ask you. This one's a good one. First, who is your all-time defensive starting five? If you had to have five guys to get a stop, who would it be?
All time.
All
Ooh.
time.
Um. mm, Give me Jordan.
He's in mine. Yeah.
Give me. Give me Scotty. Give me KG. Um. Give me Dennis Rodman. And my fifth would be a toss up between Rondo or Bron.
Uh,
I might
okay.
I
I'll
might
tell
take
you. Yeah.
I might take Scotty out and take Rondo, Jordan, Bron,
Okay.
KG,
Yeah. And Dennis.
yeah, and
Yeah. I
Dennis.
had I had MJ and Dennis in mind, but I think mine's GP the glove, dude. That guy was with the Supersonics, he was very, very underrated. It's just nobody talked about him back in the 90s because obviously, like, MJ was dominating the era. I think Gary Payton with the Supersonics, absolute beast on the defensive end. That's my point guard. I still got MJ.
I like
Scott, yeah, small forward. I've got Kawhi. I feel like he's talked about on the defensive side of the ball, but I just think his wingspan and that just separates him from being a great defender to just giving him an absolute advantage. I don't even think it's will. I just think that length gives him just a complete advantage on the defensive side. I also got Dennis Rodman, but my center, I got Big Ben Wallace.
I like
That
that one.
man, yeah,
I might even put Ron Artest in there somewhere.
that's a good one too. That's a good one too.
Yeah, I forgot about Ron. You know who my sleeper is? My sleeper is UD. That's my sleeper.
UD,
I'll bring UD off my
he
bench.
was like that.
Yeah, he was a defensive stopper.
And then another question: playing with LeBron, I'm who is your GOAT? Is it LeBron or is it MJ?
My goal is MJ. Just I grew up a
Wow.
Michael fan. I grew up on Michael Jordan, watching Michael Jordan, and try to emulate him. So yeah, mine is just MJ.
I respect that because like I think MJ's the GOAT too. Because I feel like people, like especially in the younger generation, I think they undervalue who Michael Jordan actually played. Like those Utah teams with Stockton Malone, those were legit teams. As I said, the Supersonics, you got Peyton, Sean Kemp, Charles Barkley's son's team wasn't bad. Like Michael Jordan had to go through a lot of competition.
Right. Michael Jordan stopped a lot of Hall of Famers from getting rings.
A lot. And I mean he was 6-0. I mean LeBron, he still has a decent finals record, but 6-0 is ridiculous.
That's the O. That's all it is the
The
O.
O, yeah, the O. Okay, another question from a fan. What was your favorite Spo moment? Was there a funny Spo moment? That was your answer to
Um,
that?
a funny Spo moment was we was all joking one day, and somebody pulled up Spo's stats and put it in the locker his college
Oh
stats
no,
and posted it in the locker room. And Spo walked in and seen it. That was my favorite Spo moment. Just see his reaction, see him laugh.
bro,
Like Spo's a
bro.
good dude, man. When Spo let his hair down, he relaxed. Spo's a cool dude. Spo's real cool, and that was one of the moments where like it was good to see him laugh and have a good moment.
I got a Spo story too. So I was in LA this year seeing the Clippers and the Lakers that doubleheader against the Heat where they played them. So we're on a celebrity bus and we're near the where the Heat stayed, and all of a sudden I see Spo walking out. So I start yelling on the celebrity bus, "Oh shoot, it's Spo, it's Spo, it's Spo." So then the lady like on the celebrity bus absolutely harasses the man and he just starts sprinting away, sprinting. Like he
Yeah,
was full on running. It was the funniest thing. Like I wanted a picture, but like he just full out sprinted with I think Octavo. I think
Coach.
he was
Oh,
with
I
them.
must
Yeah,
be always with
Coach
Coach.
O. Yeah, they just sprinted. I don't even know where they were at, but that was so funny, bro.
It's good old Spo.
And then last question. Did you think that the criticism, the hate, we all know, I think pretty much everybody knows, you got a lot of yelling. Even Barack Obama made the joke about it when you guys went to the White House. Do you think it was like too much, or do you think it helped you at the end of the day?
Um, I mean, it was one of them things. Like I didn't take it personal. I knew what they were trying to tell me. Of course, it could have been delivered better, but they knew how I was, and they knew I wouldn't take it personal, and it helped us win. So that was the main thing.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's go to the current NBA. Let's talk about that because there's been a lot of changes, and I want to know from the perspective of somebody who not necessarily the old NBA. I don't want to age you, but like the NBA has changed like so much in
Def-
the past decade. So how do you
Definitely.
feel? Yeah. So how do you feel about the new 65 game rule for the low management? You think it's like the correct amount of games? Do you think it's too high? Do you think it's too low?
I don't like it. Just because you can't determine what type of injury a player is going to have. And for instance, like JoJo Embiid, he was having an MVP
Yeah.
year, and now he's not even
Well,
in the qualification no more because he got hurt, and he's gonna miss the 65 game rule. So I mean, I get it because you want players to play, but they got to figure out a better way, a different way.
the part of it that I don't like about it, I like it a little bit because the load management was really bad. The part I don't like about it is like for the All NBA, because it's like some of these guys, if they make All NBA, now they have the opportunity to get the Supermax contract, to get more money in an extension. So that's the part that I think's messed up. But I think the 65 game rule, in my opinion, I think with the load management, I think it's okay. Maybe I think it could be a little bit lower to 60, but the only thing that I think that's really bad about it is the contracts.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna hurt a lot of people.
And then how do you feel about the new offensive spike in the NBA? We see 4 out of the top 5 all-time offenses this year, with the Pacers leading it at 126 points per game. And weren't you guys like in 2012, 2013, like only averaging 101, and you guys were considered like a great offense? Like that, like, yeah.
Everybody's shooting threes now. So, you know what I'm saying? The game is changing. Players are a little bit more skilled. Players are able to do a little bit more on the court. Coaches have become more creative in their offense. So, um, and there's no defense being played either. So I will say that. So
Yeah, that's true.
it makes sense. It makes sense why the points are so high like that.
And it's like now scoring under, like holding the team under 100, which was like normal back then. That's like, oh my God, that's like great defense. And that's
Right.
like crazy to me.
Yeah.
So what do you like? I'm like thinking of like rules, because we got to help like the defense, because eventually it's just too much offense. Like where I really noticed it was that Hawks Dallas game this year where Luka had 73. Like it wasn't even the fact that Luka had 73. The fact it was like 156 to like 153. That's like an all-star game score.
Yeah. Nobody's really
So
playing defense.
yeah,
So
no. So I
that's what
think
I
like,
think.
yeah.
Bring hand checking back.
That's what you think. I think we should bring defensive 3 seconds back. I mean, get rid of it. Get rid of it. That's what I'm.
Nah, I don't like that one.
No.
Because it's going to clog the paint too much. And it's not going to make it exciting for players like Ja Morant, who, get to the
Yeah.
lane, beat him at the rim. So I would say bring hand checking back, or I would let us see the overseas rules where once the ball hit the rim, you can knock it out the rim, knock it out the cylinder. I would love to see that for one time in the NBA just to see what the game would look like. Because like the players that we have, how athletic they
Yeah.
are, the height, the measurements. Like think of Victor being down there as soon as the ball hit the rim, he can swat it away. Like
Yeah.
now it's a whole
That's
different cheat code. Now,
now it's a whole different.
yeah, it's a whole different ball game. So now it's kind of like, all right, so let's see what rules we can add to it to make it still fun to watch.
Yeah. And I understand your take on like this. Not, that it's bad to get rid of the defense at 3 seconds, because like if Victor just stands in the paint and puts his hands up, I mean nobody's getting to the basket. So
Nobody's getting it. So
okay, yeah. And let's talk about the Heat. But like currently, they lost to Denver last night, which I thought the refs robbed them, but whatever. They've won 9 out of their last 12, and they've made it to the finals 2 out of the last 4 years, conference finals 3 out of the last 4 years. Do you think this Heat team's got another shot at it?
if they're still healthy, I think they got a good chance. They got a good chance to do what they've been doing. They're on a good streak right now, and Bam's playing awesome right now. So that's a
AM
good.
is playing awesome, and they just found Jaquez out of nowhere. Like
Yeah,
all yeah.
Jaime's okay. I like Jaime.
And I think they found something in Jovic a little bit. I don't think it's. I think he's got more time to develop, but I do think they found something in him a little bit.
I haven't seen him play a lot, so that I gotta watch.
And then, how did you feel about that Dame trade? Did you think that would have helped this team, or do you think it was better off not getting Dame?
I think it would have helped the team. It gave them another scoring punch at the point guard, another shooter, another person that could play off the ball a little bit. So I think that would have helped them a little bit. I think that's what Miami needs is a true point guard.
Yeah, honestly, to me, it's not even the true point guard. It's the somebody to help Butler, because we saw it in the finals. Like they were only, even though give credit to Denver's defense, but like 89 points in today's NBA, especially with not like the terrible defense and the evolved scoring that's just not going to cut it anymore. So
Right.
I agree. Like I hope Terry gets to that point where he can try to help a little bit with that. He did last night in Denver. He had a decent game, even though he played a little bit bad, like couldn't shoot from the three, but I think he can help with that a little bit. But I do think that could be a concern down the line, like a regret, because time's running out for that team with
Yeah,
Butler getting up there.
sure is. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
And then who do you think's going to win it all this season? Who's your favorite?
I got the Clippers. I think the Clippers, if they stay healthy, I think they put it together and pull it up.
I wish I could disagree, but I honestly agree with that because you've got three guys right now who can score 40, 50 any night. Even though Harden has like lackadaisical like defense, I think Kawhi and Paul George make up for that. Like you've got Harden probably guarding like the fourth, fifth best option on the team, and then your bench power. I think Norman Powell should, in my opinion, be sixth man of the year. I think he's been absolutely balling out for them.
They're playing
I
well.
I would say yeah, I would say they're the favorites. So, but I think Denver will give them a fight. Phoenix, I don't think is healthy enough, and I still on the East, I still don't trust Boston. I just don't think they're going to be consistent, and they rely too much on the threes. And eventually, like if you do that too much, I think if they just stop falling, they're done.
I got Boston and Clippers in the finals. That's who I do
Boston
on.
Clippers.
That's who I
It'll be
do on.
interesting. It'll be interesting, like if Miami matches up with Boston again, because I think the Porzingis factor will probably help Boston a little bit guarding Bam and just another option and pushing just another big guy that absolutely is an all-star caliber player. Andrew Holiday for defense guarding Butler will help too. But it'll be interesting. That'll be that's the second round series. That would be something that nobody should shut the TV off for.
Nah, definitely not. I think that's gonna be the matchup. I think Miami has Milwaukee's number. I don't think
Yeah,
I don't think they want to see Miami. So
I don't. Well, I don't think anybody wants to see Miami. I don't.
I don't think so either. I think they might want to see him, but they don't really want to see him. And I think the only person Boston's the only team that could see them and be successful, but even that's gonna be tough.
So you think Miami, if they are on the opposite side of Boston's bracket, they'll make the conference finals?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely. Especially with Philly being the way they are right now, being hurt. So yeah.
and no Cleveland, not a believer, or New York.
New York could be a problem. New York could definitely be a problem, but it just all depends on the matchup. That's the biggest thing. New York's the sleeper team to me.
I think the problem with New York is I feel like Thibodeau. I feel like this has been basically his problem for years. He's just been think overplaying over like using his guys in the regular season and just playing them when they just don't need to play. Like at end of games, I just think he plays them a little bit too much, and I think the Derrick Rose injury, even though that was in the playoffs, he played him too much when he didn't need to. That cost him. And I still think they're running players to the ground. Like Josh Hart last night, even though I know they were undermanned, they're still undermanned. He played 47 minutes in a regular season game. That's too much. And I think that's going to kill him and they're going to run out of juice.
Yeah, we'll see. Them
Yeah.
guys are young, so when you're young like that, you don't think about things.
So Jokic MVP or who else without Embiid being there?
I don't think so.
No,
My MVP low key would be Shy.
that's a good pick.
Just because he's hooping right now, he's consistent. They're top team in the West, top what, two? And two
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
I think they're at second.
Yeah, I mean that's incredible. And it's a young team. We
I would.
got we gotta
Yeah,
take it to that.
yeah. You got to give them some credit for that because what were they like 10th last? I think they like were 10th last year, and
Mhm.
then all of a sudden they just started winning. And then rookie of the year, though, you got Wemby or Chat?
I got Chet.
Chat.
Yeah, I got Chet.
I agree with that because even though Wemby has been absolutely balling out and putting up historic numbers for a rookie on the defensive side of the ball, fact of the matter is Chet's the second best player on a team that's second in the West. And I think an award should not go for stats. I think it should go for who impacts winning the most. And the most valuable rookie is Chet.
Yeah. If anything, I should say it should be a Cole rookie of the year.
Yeah, that could happen.
They both been balling, and it's
They
like,
both have been balling. I know Wemby got the best of him, but last night, but I think Chet should definitely be rookie of the year.
yeah, because Chet playing with an All Star, Wemby's not playing with no All Star, so it's kind of
Yeah,
like,
that's part of it. Yeah, that's part of it. But okay. I think that'll do it today, Mario. Thank you so much again. Thank you. I'm a really huge fan, and I appreciate you for coming on the show. And thank you so much for helping us win 2 titles. As a Heat fan myself, thank you. I
no,
appreciate that.
no problem, man. Thanks. Anytime.
See you, Mario.
All right, man.
Well, that's Mario Chalmers. Thank you so much for watching the Take Your Shot podcast. And remember, please follow me on Instagram at take_your_shot_podcast_. That's at take_your_shot_podcast_. And tell me how you would have taken your shot on these takes and Mario's takes. Once again, thank you to Mario for coming on the show. Absolutely incredible player, incredible human. It was just an absolutely incredible experience to talk with him today. And see you next week.